Graphic designers, should you freelance or should you work in an agency? Let's chat about it. Welcome to HanSelah, I'm Han, and I talk about all things to do with being a graphic designer and running my own freelance graphic design business. So, freelance versus agency. Lucky for you, I've worked in both, so I can give my unbiased opinion on both the pros and cons of freelance work or working in an agency. So let's begin with the background quickly. I worked in a full-service creative agency as a graphic designer and art director for 2 years. And I've also worked as a freelance graphic designer and creative director as well. I've been doing freelance for approximately the last 4 years as my full-time job, but collectively I have been a freelancer for about 7 years in total. I get a lot of designers asking me whether or not they should go freelance or if they should work in an agency. I did create a video about becoming a graphic designer in 2024, so feel free to watch that video, but this video is specifically going to focus on the pros and cons of agency versus freelance work. And hopefully it's going to help your future as a graphic designer, whether it be agency or freelance. So let's start with agency work. After I finished university, I went on to do a 1-month internship at a full-service creative agency. I was then offered a job at this same agency after I finished the internship, where I worked as a graphic designer and later evolved into the role of an art director. So let's start with the pros of working in an agency. I also feel like I'm not super centered in this frame, so I'm going to quickly shift over so I can be in the middle like this. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. Kind of. Wait, give me a moment. Aha, that's a little bit better, but now it's very blank on this side. I have to figure out what I'm doing with my setup because this is not it. Okay, this works a lot better on this side, I think. Okay, I kind of figured it out. Much better. I am a little bit more centered in the frame now. Also, this is a painting that I'm currently working on, so it's drying, so that's why it's just chilling there out of the way. Back to the video, sorry about the shift around. Pro number 1, I really liked working in a creative agency because I learned so much. Yes, it was not as flexible as being a freelancer, but the pro is I had an entire team of people that I was working with, and I was able to learn from them, ask questions, bounce ideas off of them. Working in an agency, I had so many resources at my fingertips that allowed me to learn and grow so effortlessly. When I joined the agency, I was still a very new graphic designer. I didn't know anything about the graphic design industry. I didn't know how to review work. I didn't know what an AE was. I didn't know about production, finished art, DTP, none of that. I had heard the terms, but I wasn't too sure what they actually did. I didn't know how to lead a team of professionals that was sometimes twice my age. I had never created a shot list. I had never been on shoot. I had never worked with models. I had never scouted models or photographers or stylists. I had never briefed a retoucher on how I want the photos to be retouched. And I had never bought paid stock photos before. I'd only ever used copyright-free images. Although I had been to university, I'd gotten my degree and I've done all the learning that I could, a lot of the industry standard was completely new to me. It's kind of like driving. You can learn as much as you want and know exactly how to drive a car, but you only truly learn to drive when you are on the road learning as you go. That's how you get better, that's how you build your confidence, and it's exactly the same in the creative career. So a lot of this industry standard was very new to me, and I learned so much over the 2 years that I was working in an agency. A lot of what I learned there is actually the basis to how I run my freelance business today. I had 2 years of wonderful agency experience where I could learn, I could ask questions, I could really get into how businesses are run, what is good business practice, bad business practice, and how to work with a creative team. I learned all of that in an agency. As a freelancer, you don't get that sort of hands-on experience. So it's definitely a pro of working in an agency, especially if you like the sort of collaborative approach to designing. I was constantly surrounded by creative people. I was in a very creative environment. And I also had my superior, my senior creative director, always there to push me to think deeper, to think more conceptual about the project brief. Number 2, another pro of working in an agency is being able to network. I worked in quite a big agency. There was probably about 80 or so people that were employed at this company. It was by no means a small agency, and we often had people coming in and out. We worked with a lot of different freelancers and local photographers. We worked with stylists and models. We also worked with video creation companies because we used to make TV commercials as well. We worked with various creative directors, art directors, and digital strategists. So we really had like a powerhouse of a team that was in the building at all times. times, and everyone had a very specific set of skills that they were really good at. This agency also had a team solely dedicated to packaging, print design, and illustration. We also had a DTP and retouching and finished art team, and our production team was also spot on. So it's really nice to be able to work with these varied people every single day. They're all really talented, they're very knowledgeable professionals, and you get to network with them. And when you do a job working on a project or a campaign, when you split ways or when you go off to another agency and they happen to be there, they can always put in a good word for you. So working in an agency is a wonderful way of growing your network, growing your portfolio, simply by being part of these teams and creative campaigns. The third pro about working in a creative agency is in terms of money. When you're working in an agency, you have financial stability, financial security. You know that you're going to get a set salary every single month, which can be really reassuring to some people. Having financial security is often a security blanket for a lot of graphic designers, and it takes a lot of worrying off your shoulders. Also, working in an agency, sometimes you get benefits too. From my personal experience in my previous agency, they had a medical aid scheme. They also had retirement funds that you could join, and obviously you also get paid leave. So there are a lot of benefits. The fourth pro is the variety of projects that you can work on. Being in an agency, you have a lot of different types of clients. And so it's always nice to have a constant flow of new projects, new clients, and new briefs that you're working on. Now, there are definitely clients that I would work more on, or I would be assigned to more because I knew their brand better. But for the most part, I quite like the change up and being able to work on different clients at the same time. I get quite bored easily, so repeating things over and over can literally drive me insane. So it's nice to be able to have that change and the ability to exercise my creative skills every day. The fifth pro of working in an agency is actually just having people around to work with. Someone to have tea with or coffee with or go to the cafe and have lunch with. Or after work, we would all go to the bar that we had in our agency and have a little drink, like on a Friday. We also had a pool table, so if you wanted a break, you could go play a game of pool. It was really nice to be in an office with people, and it wasn't a lonely experience. So if you're a sociable person and you thrive off of collaborating and being around people, then an agency setting is probably going to be a bit better for you. The last pro about working in a full-service creative agency is we don't dress formally. We used to have a running joke at my agency that if you were wearing a suit and a tie, you were going for a job interview, and we would all joke around about it. Yes, if a client was coming into the building and we were pitching to a client, we would obviously dress a little bit more formally, so maybe smart casual. But on a normal day, it's very simple casual attire. I never once ever wore any sort of business or office wear to the office. Now let's talk about the cons. Con number one of working in an agency is you do lose your sense of flexibility. You are unfortunately stuck in an office all day. You only have 1 hour of lunch break, so if you have any errands to run, you can only run them during that 1 hour. It's not like working at home where you can put a load of washing on or quickly do the dishes. You are in that office from 8 until 5, and that is not including the commute there and back. Which leads me to con number 2, the commute, because it can be quite exhausting. When I used to drive to work, it was about a 20-minute drive there, but in the afternoons when I was coming home, there was always traffic, so it usually took about an hour to an hour and a half to come home after work. Especially coming from being a university student and then going straight into full-time work, it was really exhausting, and most of my friends are also younger than me, so they were all still studying. I was the only one with a full-time job, so they all wanted to go out to the bar or go out for dinner, and by the time I got home after work, I was completely shattered and all I wanted to do was relax. It probably took me like 3 full months to get into this whole full-time work routine thing before I kind of got into the hang of it and then coped. The third con of working in an agency, and this can be technically for freelance or working in an agency, but that is the high pressure and the deadlines. Everything is business critical and on a time crunch. We were constantly chasing deadlines, running around like crazy. It's a very fast-paced environment which leads to a high pressure environment. And in turn, this leads to long hours. There was often time we were working overtime in order to meet those deadlines. And lastly, I would say another pro of working in an agency is that you have limited creative freedom, because obviously there are client constraints and brand guidelines that you have to follow. Obviously, working in an agency, you're simply the graphic designer. The client doesn't really know who you are. It's not like freelancing where the client will specifically come to you or ask for you or want your services specifically because of your style. Working in an agency, you need to be able to adapt your skills and adapt your style in order to suit each brand that you're working on. So often you don't get to completely embody your own personal style. style in your projects as you would if you were freelancing. Now let's move on to the freelancing pros and cons. So the first pro of freelancing is leading on from what we just discussed, and that is that you can have the ability to absolutely shine in your own personal design style. Clients will come to you for your specific set of skills or your specific design style. So you don't need to suppress your creative expression or your creative freedom because the clients have specifically chosen you. And it works both ways where you get to choose what clients you want to work with. So if a client comes to you and you're not really feeling their vibe, you can obviously turn them down. And this is how you build your desired portfolio. Obviously, in an agency setting, you can't be like, nah, I don't want to work on that client. You have no say. A second pro of freelancing is your time is really flexible. You can work according to your own schedule and how you want. If you want to take a day off to go to the beach, you can. You are your own boss, you set your own hours and your own schedule. Now, this obviously takes a lot of self-control, so if you don't have much self-control, I don't think freelancing is going to be the place where you thrive. You need to actually be able to be your own boss. And along with that, you need to know when to work and when to play. Number 3 is your independence. You have creative freedom. You don't have anyone superior to you. You don't have anyone reviewing your work every day. As a freelancer, it's just you and the client. There's no roles in between. So you have the full decision-making rights. From business decisions, such as setting your own rates, to choosing your clients, and to making all the creative decisions associated with your projects. This can be empowering, but if you truly do not believe in yourself, then you are going to struggle. The fourth pro about freelancing is the potential to be able to earn a lot more money than you would as a salaried employee. As a freelancer, you can charge whatever you want, you can set your own rates, you can also charge more for last minute projects. If a client approaches you on a Friday and they want it done by Monday, you can mark that up because now you have to give away your weekend to sit and work. And as a freelancer, you have the ability to earn multiple streams of income as well. I personally have about 4 to 6 different monthly streams of income, and these are both active and passive. So you just have more potential to earn higher than you would as a salaried employee. Now let's talk about the cons of freelancing. First off, financial instability. That's off the bat the biggest one. No matter what freelance position you do, that is always going to be the number one con. Your income is going to fluctuate substantially. Some months you're going to flourish, some months it's going to be very quiet. Your income is going to vary and you won't have a lot of benefits as you would have if you were working in an agency such as medical aid or a retirement fund or paid leave. So if you are not an entrepreneurial person or if stressing about money does worry you a lot, then I don't think freelance is going to be a very good job for you. Another con is admin. I hate admin. I can't stand admin. And there is a lot of admin when you are a freelancer. Things like answering emails, creating invoices and quotes, doing bookkeeping and taxes, running around, managing client contracts, renewing your software subscriptions, and so forth. There is a lot. In an agency, a lot of that admin is taken care of for you, but as a freelancer, you are all the roles in one. You are the designer, you are the strategist, you are the accountant, you are the social media guru, you are the creative director, you are the accounts executive. You personally take on every role that there is in an agency, which can be quite tiring if you're not business orientated or entrepreneurial. The third con is isolation. It can be quite lonely being a freelancer because you're not working with anybody else. You don't have people around you to bounce your ideas off on or to get feedback, or if you stuck on something, you don't have people to help you out. You are simply alone. Some people thrive in that sort of business, but some people struggle. So that is just something to consider if you decide to go freelance. And the number 4 con would be your work-life balance. This is a very important one, and learning how to balance your work and your life. You need to learn how to take control of your business and how to create a structure so that you don't burn out. For example, something simple like setting your own business hours and sticking to them. I personally, when I first started freelancing, used to answer my client emails at all hours of the night. Now I only work from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. I don't answer emails outside of that time, unless of course I am working on a project chasing a deadline. I also don't work outside the scope of the project, so if a client's like, oh, can you just add this or add that or do this little thing? No. If it's not in the client contract, it's not happening. And I know this sounds pretty brutal, but that is how you form boundaries in your business, and you don't let people trot all over you and try and squeeze you for every last bit. I also do not give my number to any clients. If they want to work with me, I don't answer DMs, I don't answer messages or anything like that. If clients want to work with me, they have to go to my website, fill out the contact form, and then we will liaise via email. I don't work myself to the bone. I work hard and I work a lot, but I also set boundaries in my business so I have a positive work-life balance. Because it can be very easy to blur those boundaries and overwork yourself, especially if you work from home. And if your computer is always there, it's always on, it's always running. I work to live, I don't live to work. So I'm going to leave it there. If you found this video helpful, please give it a nice little thumbs up, show it some love, and drop a comment. Let me know if you prefer freelancing or working in an agency. I would love to know your feedback. Don't forget to check out this video if you want to learn more about graphic design. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content like this. Have a lovely day wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.